Welcome to the Bakersfield City Council meeting. This television broadcast is brought to you by the local cable companies, the County of Kern, and the City of Bakersfield. You can watch the rebroadcast of this meeting Saturday at 7 p.m., Sunday at 10 a.m., and the following Wednesday at 7 p.m. You can download the agenda for this meeting at www.bakersfieldcity.us. Presiding over this evening's meeting, the Honorable Mayor Karen K. Go.
Good evening. It's my pleasure to call to order the 5:15 regular City Council meeting of August 14th, 2024. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Mayor Go.
Here.
Vice Mayor Gonzalez.
Here.
Councilmember Arias. Councilmember Weir.
Here.
Councilmember Smith.
I am here.
Councilmember Freeman.
Here.
Councilmember Gray.
Here.
And Councilmember Core.
Here.
Thank you, and welcome to all of you. Tonight we have the pleasure of having Reverend Mercedes Tootie Hamilton, who's the pastor of Kane Memorial AME Church. She will offer the invocation, and then that will be followed by our City Hall fellow who just completed her program in the police department, Rosia Guzman Vargas. She is a graduate of CSUB in criminal justice, and she plans to obtain her master's in counseling and serve the underrepresented population. So would you at this time please stand, and Reverend, go ahead and lower the mic, please.
Okay. Let us bow our heads. Dear Heavenly Father, we humbly come into your presence tonight, thanking you for granting us life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. We ask your forgiveness of our sins that we have committed against you and against others. Please bless the proceedings of this meeting, which is about to take place on behalf of the City of Bakersfield. Please bless Mayor Go, all council members, city officials, staff members, their families, all first responders, and the citizens of Bakersfield who will come before this council with presentations and petitions. May all weighty matters be deliberated in a just and a righteous way for the common good of humanity. We thank you, Lord, for your protection, hearing, and answering of this prayer. It is offered in your matchless and sovereign name. Amen.
Amen. Rosie.
Salute, pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. You may be seated. Pastor, thank you. Rocio, thank you, and all the best in your studies ahead. Pastor, thank you. Welcome. I know you're relatively new to the pulpit locally here, and so thank you very much, and we appreciate it. If you need to leave at this time for other things, that would be fine too. Madam Clerk, next item, please.
Presentations item 4A, proclamation to Priscilla Russell and Gigi the Warrior declaring Childhood Cancer Awareness Month in Bakersfield during September 2024.
Colleagues, childhood cancer is the #1 leading cause of death by disease in children in the United States. Each year, more than 14,000 children between the ages of birth and age 19 are diagnosed with cancer. And every 3 minutes, a family hears the devastating words that their child has been diagnosed with cancer. So I read this following proclamation tonight. Whereas cancer knows no boundaries, afflicting all ethnic and socioeconomic groups, and whereas increased awareness and research will help educate the public on early diagnosis and provide readily accessible clinical care to patients in need, And whereas dedicated health professionals, agencies, and organizations have made their mission to help children with cancer and provide educational, emotional, and financial support to their families. And whereas children deserve the chance to dream big, discover new interests, and live to their absolute potential while fighting the disease. Now, therefore, I, Karen Go, Mayor of the City of Bakersfield, do hereby proclaim September 20th, 2024, as Childhood Cancer Awareness Month in our city and urge all residents to join our city in reaffirming our commitment to fighting childhood cancer. It's my honor to be able to present this to warriors that we have here. Gigi, who's president of Gigi the Warrior, and to Priscilla Russell on behalf of the Bakersfield Childhood Cancer Community. Gigi, thank you so much, and if you would just address us, who wants to go? Mom's going to go.
Thank you. Thank you, Mayor Go and council members, for allowing us to speak once again. My name is Claudia Guerrero, and I was given the title of Cancer Mom in 2019 when my daughter Gigi was diagnosed with acute lymphoblastic leukemia. Well, Gigi is now cancer-free, and she is the founder of Gigi the Warrior, a nonprofit organization which helps local children affected by childhood cancer. As a cancer mom, I rise today in support of families and children everywhere who have been affected by childhood cancer. September is Childhood Cancer Awareness Month. As I know the meaning behind this month, I also realize that childhood cancer and all cancers have an impact in our city. According to the American Childhood Cancer Organization, more than 15,000 children under 21 are diagnosed with cancer every year. I know too well the heartbreak that any family must endure and the pain caused by childhood cancer. Here locally, Gigi and I have volunteered and supported numerous initiatives to fight so that all children can have a chance of survival. We come before you to ask that all September, the Bakersfield City will go gold for these children that are fighting, the survivors, and those gone too soon. Thank you.
Mayor, if I may, I just want to say thank you to Claudia and thank you, Gigi. It's one thing to experience such a obstacle in life. It's another thing to use that challenge and use that that experience to really help shape the future for many other people and help improve the lives of others. And so thank you so much for all the leadership that you're providing in our community and all the wonderful things you're doing for children in Kern County. Mm-hmm.
Madam Clerk.
Public statements.
Thank you. In keeping with Council's resolution, public statements are now received at different times depending on the item. I will call on the city clerk to call for public statements at the appropriate time, so please listen carefully for the correct time. If you wish to make a public statement, please fill out a public speaker card and place it on the tray on the counter next to the speaker podium. We ask that you mark whether you're here to speak on an item listed on tonight's agenda or on a matter not on the agenda. Speakers who do not identify a specific agenda item will be presumed speakers for non-agenda public statements. If you're here to speak on an item not listed on the meeting agenda, you will be called first to speak. Statements are given a 2-minute time limit per speaker, 20 minutes total for all non-agenda item public statements. If you're here to speak on an item listed on the agenda, I will call for you at a later time, so please listen carefully. If public statements become disruptive and I have to clear the chambers to regain order of the meeting, you will be called in one at a time to provide your public statement when your item is called. Madam Clerk, do we have any public speakers regarding items not listed on the agenda?
Mayor Go, we've received 9 speaker cards regarding items not listed on tonight's agenda. The first 3 public speakers are Kenny Harma, Pete Leveroy, and Gail Malouf.
Mr. Harmon, would you please come forward? And just for all of you, if you can just adjust the microphone to your height, that would be very helpful. Welcome.
What
Please
we're here
introduce
for-
yourself.
My name is Kenny Harmer. I'm a resident up in Bakersfield Country Club. What we're here for tonight is about a zoning issue and a property near where all of us live. And I've got a little story that reminds me of something that happened to us, we believe. I'm in college at the University of Wyoming, and I'm taking an exam, and this kid gets up, and as he's putting his test results in the pile, the instructor goes, the professor, sir, you can give that to me. You were cheating. I saw you cheating, and you're not going to pass this course. And the kid goes, do you know who I am? And the professor goes, I don't care who you are. I don't care. You cheated. You're not going to pass. He goes, do you know who I am? And the kid takes and the professor didn't know him. He takes his card, his test, shoves it in the middle of the pile, throws it up, and walks out. He got away with it. And that's exactly what happened to us. We met at Bakersfield Country Club on this one issue here, and then all of a sudden, they'll explain what happened to you better, but the piece of property got shoved in with a bunch of other properties, and we had 150 people at Bakersfield Country Club who were opposed to this, and it got shut down for a while, and now it's been passed after being shoved into a bunch of other properties. That's all I have to say on it. It wasn't fair, just like the kid who cheated on the test. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Pete Leveroni, followed by Gail Malouf, followed by Valencia Chambers.
Good evening, Madam Mayor and City Council people. Thank you for your service to our community. We're here tonight to talk about a 12-acre lot, piece of property on the northwest corner of Fairfax and College Avenue. 3 years ago, the property is zoned R1. 3 years ago, the owner of the property requested to have the zoning changed and to put a mixed-use facility in there. There was a meeting at Bakersfield Country Club. 150 people showed up, and the project went down in flames. And we thought that was the end of it. We just, in the last few days, found out that this zoning issue, this piece of property was bundled with a bunch of other properties for the housing element, which I understand and support. But the notice that was sent out, actually that wasn't sent, it was just put in the paper, was not clear. Nobody really understood it, and subsequently, the way we found out about it, and Gail's going to talk about this next, is that there was a for sale sign put up because the owner of that property now is trying to sell it for $1.5 million. So we feel as though the notice was improper, inappropriate, and not fair. We ask that this property be rezoned, go back to R1 zoning, or at the very least referred back to staff to look for another way to make this what I call a win-win situation for both the residents and the owner of the property. But we just feel we didn't have our voice heard, and we had 2 days to gather a group here. If we had the appropriate amount of time, we'd be down here in force and express our feelings. Thank you very much.
And for the record, would you just say your name, please?
I'm sorry, say?
For the record, would you say your name, please?
Oh, Pete Leveroni.
Thank you, Mr.
Yeah,
Leveroni.
okay.
Next speaker, please.
Gail Malouf, followed by Valencia Chambers, followed by Anna B.
If you have anything, you can just leave it there and the clerk will get it. Welcome. Please
I've
introduce
got some
yourself.
information to give to each of you,
Yes.
if you could, please. My name is Gail Malouf. Have resided in Bakersfield all my life. I have been a local real estate broker within Bakersfield for 47 years, and I'm a past president of the Bakersfield Association of Realtors, so I'm very well aware of property rights and zoning. I'm here tonight to present my concerns on the recent passing of the state-mandated zone changes that were presented in a bundle. The bundle included 433 acres throughout the city of Bakersfield in all wards except 6. Although I cannot speak to all the properties in the bundle, I'm specifically addressing the 12.7 acres on the northwest corner of College and Fairfax. This property was zoned R1 for single-family homes. 3 years ago, the owner of the property had asked for a zone change. There was a sign put on the property noting the residence of a meeting with the Planning Commission, and letters were sent to those residing within 300 feet of the property. After the first Planning Commission meeting and hearing, many spoke in opposition to the zone change and plan. The Planning Commission asked the owner to meet with the neighbors and work on a revised plan. There were 150 residents at the meeting with the owner. Commissioner Cassie Biddle, Councilman Ken Weir, and Paul Johnson, Director of Planning, were in attendance at the meeting just to observe. All 158 residents opposed the plan and zone change. They came from south of College, 2 subdivisions north of the subject parcel, the Summit and East Ridge, and the Bakersfield Country Club. The owner pulled his application before the next meeting. We were told there would be a sign and letters sent if anything should arise on the property in the future. We hadn't seen or heard anything in regards to this property until a few weeks ago when a for sale sign was put on the property. At that point, it was when we became aware of the zone change to MX1.
Ms. Maloof, your time is up. Can you just wrap up your comments? We thank you for providing them in writing. Go ahead and a couple more sentences.
We feel that we were mishandled. We feel that we were not appropriately notified. You have a copy of the notification that's in the paper. There was no address, nothing in there to make us be aware that this property was even there. There was no sign on the property. There were no letters sent out, and we feel blindsided. And we would like to we're asking you and requesting the city to look at this, put it back into R1 zoning, and if somebody wants to change it, give us an opportunity in order to speak our word. We are citizens, taxpayers, and we feel that we should have had notification and be able to respond, especially since the exact same zoning from 3 years ago.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Valencia Chambers, followed by Anna B., followed by Jessica McConnell.
Good evening. My name is Valencia Chambers, Valencia Chambers. I have a couple of things to ask about. Okay, right now, what happened with me is I don't know what I am now, but I was a co-owner with my sister on a house. And my older sister, one of my sisters passed away, and so my sister Olivia and I went and had the house put in our name jointly. Somehow she went and got my name taken off. I don't know how this happened. Maybe you can help me to figure this out. She went and filed a deed with her name on it. She called the police on me, had me arrested for burglary. I was arrested, spent over 30 days in jail. Because I wouldn't plead guilty to burglary. I didn't commit burglary. I entered the house with my keys, co-owner of this house. In the meantime, I don't have a house. I don't have a place to stay. I'm in a shelter. At this point, I want to know, do you have some kind of influence that we can maybe have a cold water fountain placed in the shelter? I mean, we have water, but it's room temperature. I don't know if you have any influence on this. Could you please check into that and see if we can get some cold water fountain? I mean, staff have cold water fountains, but we don't. And when it's really 100 and something temperature, cold water makes a real big difference, believe it or not. One more thing I wanted to say, open house shelter, I feel like I'm being discriminated against. I've been experiencing really, really a lot of ugly things there. Basically, people coming to my bedside, touching me inappropriately, just things like that. And when I report it, and I report it to the police department and everything else, and that's another thing, Internal Affairs, I'm having a problem them getting back to me on any of the issues. Maybe you could check into that for me. Internal Affairs never gets back to me. That's been since January.
Ms. Chambers, thank you for sharing. Your time is up. Councilmember Gonzalez.
Thank you, Mayor.
But are you able to look into that for me?
Councilmember Gonzalez is going to speak right now.
Ms. Chambers, thank you so much for coming to council today and visiting with us and sharing your concerns. I'm going to ask Mr. Valdez if he can meet you in the back of the chambers.
Mr. Valdez.
So that we can
Another thing,
get a
too-
better sense of what
Just to wrap it up,
the
Ms.
issue.
Ms. Chambers, let Councilmember Gonzalez finish, and then we're going to get you some help. Go
Mr.
ahead.
Valdez will be able to take your concerns and we
What's
can
his
work
name,
towards.
Valdez?
He's right in the back. Mr. Valdez, will you just raise your hand? Ms. Chambers, he's right there.
oh, he can help me.
Yeah.
What
and
is
so he'll have a conversation.
What does he
He's
do?
our assistant to the city manager. And what I'd like us to do is see about the concerns. Those are very serious concerns, and see exactly what facility we're
Thank you.
talking about. And then also, let's work on those cold water drinking fountains if we can. Put it on our deferred maintenance list. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Chambers. If you just go back there and meet Mr. Valdez, he'll talk to you. Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Anna B., followed by Jessica McConnell, followed by Cecilia.
Good evening.
Welcome.
Council members, thank you for your service. I work for the Bakersfield Police Department. My name is Anna Bird, BYD, so I'm very involved in community issues. I am a resident of the Bakersfield Country Club, the lower division. My concern is the rezoning of the 12.7 acres on Fairfax and College that is going from residential to commercial. This is 3 blocks from my house. And this property sits next to 3 water towers that hold anywhere from 70 to 500,000 gallons of water. And the California Department of Industrial Relations states that nothing can be built 1,000 feet from those water towers. So the fact that it's going to be going from residential to commercial is concerning because we already have 2 malls just north and south of this property, which is kind of like the pink elephant in the neighborhood because it's next to the water towers. It's in a very small intersection. There's 2 residential homes directly opposite the proposed commercial property, which would, in my opinion, working for BPD, would create neighborhood blight. The area is an upscale country club area, and I am worried about preserving the sanctity and sanctuary of my home. When I moved in this neighborhood, I did not move there because I wanted to live next to a mini mall, as you can understand. So I am requesting that this, the other 400 and so acres, great. Another concern is the Niles corridor from Fairfax to Beale needs to be redeveloped more than putting a mini mall up on this 12-acre spot. A park would be really nice there, some green space. I think the reason the property owner is selling it is because for so cheap, $1 million for 12 acres is, is because he can't develop it the way it should be because it was opposed. All right, thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Bird. Next speaker, please.
Jessica McConnell, followed by Cecilia, followed by
Councilmember
Ernie
Freeman.
Lopez.
Thank you, Mayor. I appreciate the people from the Bakersfield Country Club area coming up and making us aware of this. Have any of you spoken to Mr. Burns or gone to Development Services and talked about the zoning and the lack of notice? This is sort of a really odd situation. I think it's part of this blanket.
I think Mr. Clegg, would you like to address this?
Councilmember Freeman, just in the spirit of trying to, honor the council rules on the sort of the back and forth, I can answer your question. The community members have reached out to staff, and again, I think have raised some good considerations, and we understand, I think, the concerns both with the potential project and process. But again, don't begrudge the members of the community also coming and making sure their voice is heard here at council meeting, but they have talked with staff, yes.
My just concern was there was sort of a blanket rezoning, as I remember, a package of a lot of properties, but that I didn't realize, normally when you rezone a property, there's signs on the property, letters go out to people. I mean, that's what the community understands the law is and what they should expect. And I don't know why that process was, must have been skipped. But I just wonder did we do this right? Are we exempted for some reason from making notice so the neighbors knew what was going on? And if not, is there any way to review that decision? I mean, I don't know. I know it's sort of a mess because it's passed, but still, if we did something wrong, is there any way to remedy it?
So, Councilmember Freeman, what we did in this process, now you're correct, this was part of one of two actions that included multiple properties. There were two recent actions that had many properties listed. For this particular property, we did follow our typical process, which is we published in the newspaper, also property owners that are within a 300-foot radius. Oh, excuse me, thank you. We just used the newspaper process this time, where we did not provide the 300-foot letter radius through this process. We only did the newspaper process this time around.
For those of you in the audience, I know you're very passionate about this. Right now, we are addressing the council members speaking, and we have other requests for the council members to speak. So let's make sure that follows through. Ms. McConnell, I know that Councilmember Weir would like to speak, so if you would just sit down for a minute, I'll call on you again. Councilmember Freeman, do you have anything further?
Is this currently zoned mixed use, so it could be developed either as a residential property or commercial?
It is MX1 mixed use, yes.
So it could be developed as a residential property?
Correct.
It could be developed as single-family lots?
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Now, Councilmember Weir.
Thank you, Mayor. A little further down the agenda today, I will be making comments on this, and hopefully we can get people back together and have a reconciliation.
Thank you, Councilmember Weir. Mr. Clegg.
Thank you for the opportunity, Mayor and Council. Councilmember, we're prepared to receive your questions and directions at a later time, but it is also appropriate now if you'd like to provide that direction at this time.
Okay, since that is available to me, I want to make a motion directed to staff to reach out to the community representatives to see if there is a path forward or a compromise that can be reached, and for the city attorney to give the community representative the name of the attorney suing the city on the similar zone change. So could somebody explain that to the audience now, please?
Yes, Mayor, Councilmember Weir. Again, I think the city manager can talk to the community representatives either today or at a later time in terms of some plan or options moving forward. But I have no problem in letting the community as well as the public speakers tonight to let you know that the city is also being sued on the prior zone change for the 900 acres. And we are likely to expect another lawsuit on the 453 acres in which your thought is on the particular 12 acres. And so my thought would be that if you can't find a way forward working with the city manager and his staff, that you reach out to me, and I'm going to give you the name of the attorney that's suing us on the 900, because we are, again, it's probable that you're going to sue us on the 453, and you could tag along with that. So we've given you a couple of options to move forward.
Thank you, Madam City Attorney. Anything else, Councilmember Weir?
No, I think that resolves it for tonight.
Thank you. Now, Ms. McConnell, and thank you again for coming out. Ms. McConnell.
Good evening, I'm Jessica McConnell. I work for a couple animal rescues within the community. Thank you for the opportunity to speak with you today about an issue that affects not only just the animals in our community, but the well-being and the safety of our
Ms.
neighborhoods.
McConnell,
as a
can
whole.
you raise the mic and speak a little louder, please?
I'm here to address two critical concerns: the need for stronger consequences for those who commit acts of animal abuse and animal dumping, as well as the growing feral cat issue in our community. First, the matter of animal abuse. It is not just a crime against innocent creatures. It's a symptom of a deeper issue within our society. Research has shown that strong correlation between cruelty of animals and also leads to cruelty against humans. We allow animal abusers to go unpunished. We are sending a message that such behavior is tolerable. I urge council members to implement stronger consequences for those found guilty of animal abuse, animal dumping, and maybe even a spay and neuter program for other animals. In regards to the feral cat issue, our city has seen a significant increase in the number of feral cats, which poses a unique challenge. These animals, while often the result of human neglect, can lead to public health concerns, damage to local wildlife, and decline in the quality of life in our affected neighborhoods. To tackle this problem, I propose a two-pronged approach: collaboration with local animal shelters. Animal shelters will not take any feral cats. They are not doing any trapping, any releasing. You see dead animals on the road in communities every day. I was just at a house that actually was abandoned and 60 cats were left in there, as well as dogs. Called animal control right away. They weren't able to come out and do anything other than post a sign on the door. We were able to remove 36 of these animals and get them help and safety. The landlord apparently showed up and released them out onto the street, which we then found them dead all over the community. And I know there's a lot of us who are actually out there trapping and releasing and neutering, but it's a lot of work and we need more programs and help.
Thank you, Ms. McConnell, and thank you for your efforts on behalf of our animals and to all in our animal community who are doing so much for this huge challenge that we face as a community. Thank you.
Thank you.
Vice Mayor.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Ms. McConnell, for bringing these issues to our attention. Animal abuse is a very serious issue, and I'm thankful that you raised some light on it. And I agree, we do need tougher penalties, and we need to respond in a clear way, sending a message to those who are abusers. You know, it's interesting that you bring this up today. I was just at the animal care facility for a meeting this afternoon. There are a number of issues facing our animal care facility, but also our response to a number of the issues related to our pet population in Bakersfield. And so what I'd like us to do, Mr. Clegg, is have a workshop at a future council meeting so we can address some of these issues. In particular, Ms. McConnell referenced the growing feral cat population. I know we have a TNR program in place. I think that it's timely that we look at the results and see where we can invest some dollars to improve that program or increase the capacity of that program. We also have a mandatory spay-neuter ordinance on the books today, but we need to do the second half of that and take a look at both the enforcement end and also the education into the community. And I think that's a really important conversation for the full council to have. As I mentioned, there are a number of issues also at the animal care facility, including a number of deferred maintenance issues related to the capacity of the facility, some beautification projects they like to see, but also just our ability to work in closer coordination with lots of other providers, including animal control and our homeless service providers, so that we can help reduce the number of dogs who are put into the shelter and who don't make it out. I want to leave this comment, though, on a good note. Since some of our efforts over the last year and a half, I learned that we're on track to have 1,000 fewer dogs enter our animal care facility this year. We also will see a reduction of around 550 to 600 animals who are put to sleep, fewer animals put to sleep this year as a result of some of our work. So we are making progress. The problem is this issue is pervasive and it continues to envelop lots of areas of our community. And I think we need to, I know there's a lot of other pressing issues in the city, but we ought to spend some time on this one. Thank you.
Madam Clerk, next speaker, please.
Cecilia, followed by Ernie Lopez, followed by Wendell Wesley Jr.
Welcome. Please introduce yourself.
Hello, my name is Cecilia Marcial, and I'm a perinatal nurse in the city of Bakersfield. I am here to stand in solidarity with the people of Palestine. I am here because nothing can justify genocide, and nothing can justify your silence, purchased with blood money. I am here for the record of history so that everyone knows we were not silent in US-funded genocide. Your constituents do not support you. We adamantly denounce the killing of children and civilians. The IDF continues to target healthcare workers. 20 of 36 hospitals are out of service. 16 of 36 are only partially functional. The systematic dismantling of healthcare must end. I stand as a healthcare worker for Palestine with more than 3,000 other healthcare workers who understand that it is our professional obligation to do whatever we can to end this genocide. As Dr. Kadir said, we understand that liberation and the political self-determination are cornerstones of health. Do you believe your support of an apartheid state equivalent to Nazi Germany contributes to the common good of humanity? That is all.
Thank you. And the next speaker, please.
Ernie Lopez, followed by Wendell Wesley Jr.
My name is Ernie Lopez. I was watching our property at 1129 A Street for a landowner named Cedro. The gentleman is not doing a good job as being he hired me to watch the property, and then guns were aimed, and I could have been shot at that property. I believe it's a nuisance, and it's dangerous for him to be in the real estate business, buying estates in Bakersfield, California. The police report was made. The gentleman who aimed the gun didn't have a license for the weapons. They were drunk. And the only thing that was wrong with the situation is something could have happened to me that night. So I'll just bring it up to the council that this gentleman needs more discipline. He needs to be removed from real estate buying homes here at Bakersfield.
Thank you, Mr. Lopez.
All right.
Do you want to speak?
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Mr. Lopez. Mr. Burns, if we can have someone from code enforcement reach out to Mr. Lopez regarding this property. I'm not sure of all the issues related, but I think one of the issues I heard had something to do with code enforcement. And so if we can have a code enforcement officer reach out, I'd appreciate it. Thank you, sir.
Okay, thanks, sir.
Thank you for speaking. Next speaker, please.
Wendell Wesley Jr.
Hi, my name is Wendell Wesley Jr., and I'm calling about the California Avenue Senior Housing. There are 3 buildings, 2 to the west side of N Street and 1 to the east side of N Street. And there is no crosswalk that connects the west to the east. And because of that, we have residents in chairs and scooters that leave from the driveway at Caddy Corner across the street, which is extremely unsafe, being that right there at 11th and N, there is a street that dead ends right into N Street. So we are requesting that the wheelchair accessible ramps get done going directly across with speed bumps on going both directions of the street, north and south. We want to thank the city for repaving and putting that there's a schooling there. And so thank you for that. We think that being that that's a grid location going from in a lot of those areas, that maybe some roundabouts would be very helpful. And in some cases, definitely some 4-way stops and better lighting. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Wesley. Weismer.
Thank you, Mr. Wesley. Mr. Meyer, if we can look at the traffic calming strategies for that particular area. I will say the Streets Division is doing an excellent job with repaving many of our neighborhood streets. And certainly that area was long overdue, and I'm really excited to see all of the improvements in that particular area of central Bakersfield. But given the number of seniors in that neighborhood and the number of pedestrians, people who are just walking around and in chairs, I think it does make a lot of sense for us to have some raised crosswalks, maybe some speed humps, but I'd like to make a referral tonight that we look into that particular area. Thanks for bringing it up, Mr. Wesley. Appreciate it.
Madam Clerk, are there any other speakers in this category?
Mayor Go, we have not received any additional speaker cards for non-agenda items, nor have we received speaker cards for items on the agenda tonight.
Right, thank you. And so now, next item.
Appointments, item 6A, one appointment to the Miscellaneous Civil Service Board, an at-large appointment to a term to expire December 31st, 2026, due to the term expiration of Kevin Oliver. One application for appointment has been received from Mariana Jimenez.
Thank you. I'd like to clarify the voting process. The council will vote electronically, and then the city clerk will display and announce the results. Based on these results, the council will then make the appropriate motion regarding the appointment. There's only one, so that it's not necessary. So you're still going to have to make the motion. Unless somebody wants to, yeah.
Thank you. Motion to appoint Mariana Jimenez to the Miscellaneous Civil Service Board.
Yeah, Councilmember Freeman.
The reason I made a request to speak is that this is a fairly important position, and I was disappointed that we didn't get a number of applicants. And I have nothing against the lady who's applied. But for something like this, I really think we need a bigger applicant pool. I don't know if it's because of the heat, summer vacations, what caused this to only get one person interested, but this deals with the personnel issues throughout our city of 3,000 employees. It's an important position. So I would personally like to see us go out maybe for another month and see if we can find some more applicants. And if we don't, well then we only have one person. But that'd be, before I make a motion, I see Mr. Clegg would like to say something, so
Mr. Clegg.
be my guest.
Yeah, thank you, Councilmember Freeman and Mayor and Council. I'm open to the feedback. Agree with you, this is a really important appointment. Unfortunately, we've been recruiting for this appointment now for City Clerk 4 months.
The initial press release went out in February.
For longer than 4 months. So we've done some targeted efforts as well, just for the benefit of the council. And I'll admit, somewhat selfishly, we want to make sure we have good folks on this panel. So we've reached out to human resources professionals, former, public servants, community leaders, to encourage that we've folks getting the word out to potential candidates. So we have been recruiting for some time on this, and this is now the first time that we've had an applicant. But to your point, it is a limited pool. And it has caused us some challenges in actually having quorum for the civil service, and we've actually had to cancel some meetings and delayed some of our city business. But again, still, even with some of those factors, still open to council motion on this topic. But we have been recruiting for some time.
Well, thank you, and I appreciate the efforts you have made. I still feel we would be better off if we had a number of applicants, and so I would like to make a motion that we put this back out for applications for 2 more council meetings, bring it back in approximately a month or 2 council meetings to vote on this. So that's my motion.
You have a motion? I don't. Madam Clerk, I'm having a hard time with the request to speak. Can you clear who's gone previously? So is Vice Mayor, is that you? Nope. I see Ken Weir and Bruce Freeman still up, and no one else.
Mayor Go, there may be a technical issue.
Okay, let's just pause for a minute and clear, and then we'll.
I think, Mayor, it's on your display. I show a request to speak,
Okay.
one from Patty Gray and one from Bob Smith.
Go ahead and press your button. I have nobody on mine right now.
Okay. I just want to say I totally agree with Councilmember Freeman. I think we need to have a larger pool, so I would be in favor of pushing this off. Thank you.
Anyone else? Right now, I have no one on my request to speak list. You want? Oh. Councilmember Smith?
Thank you. Are there other openings, or is this the last one to fill?
Yeah, thank you. Councilmember, this is the final opening to be filled.
Okay, thank you.
All right. If right now they're working on the technical part, is there anyone else who wishes to make a comment before we take a vote? You have a motion? Please cast your votes. The motion is to delay.
Is it working?
It is working, just not request to speak.
Motion is approved with Vice Mayor Gonzalez and Councilmember Kaur voting no and Councilmember Arias absent.
Thank you. And now, next item, please.
Consent calendar items 7A through 7I for approval. A staff memorandum was provided regarding item 7A1, transmitting the minutes which were inadvertently left out of the original agenda packet. And another staff memorandum was provided regarding item 7D9, removing the item from the agenda.
Thank you. Vice Mayor?
Mayor, no member of the council has requested to remove an item, and no one has a conflict, and so I will move the consent calendar approval.
You have a motion? Please cast your votes.
Motion is approved with Councilmember Arias absent.
Thank you. Next item, please.
Consent calendar public hearings item 8A and 8B for approval.
Thank you. The purpose of this section is to vote on all of the items listed under consent calendar hearings in one motion without further comment. If anyone would like to speak on any of the hearing items listed, the item must be removed from this portion of the agenda. If an item is removed, it will be placed at the end of the regular public hearings portion of the meeting. So at this time, I will open consent calendar public hearing items 8A through B. Is there anyone in the audience who would like to request that a hearing item be removed from the consent calendar? If so, please come forward. This isn't the time to take testimony, only to remove the item from the consent calendar hearings. Seeing none, does any council member wish to remove an item from the consent calendar hearings?
Mayor, I'd like to request that we remove item 8A for separate consideration.
Okay. 8B. All right, so both of them are being moved for separate consideration. So at this time, our next item will be going on to public hearings, and each side will be allowed 15 minutes for all speakers per side. So it's important that you identify yourself, make your statement succinctly so others may speak. We'll hear statements from those first opposed to the staff's recommendation, and then we'll hear from those who'd like to speak in favor. If there's testimony on both sides, each side will be allowed a 5-minute rebuttal. There's the clock on the TV screens behind me, which indicates 15 minutes. Please step to the microphone, identify yourself, and after 14 minutes, a yellow light will come on. At the end of 15 minutes, a red light will flash indicating your time is up. Quickly end your statement. You may ask questions during your statement, but they won't be addressed until the public hearing is closed. If you have written comments that are longer than your verbal statement, give them to the clerk. She'll provide copies to the council. Please be courteous to all who wish to speak. So now, Madam Clerk, we will have item 8A with Councilmember Weir. Oh, I'm so sorry. I got them mixed up. All right, Councilmember Gonzalez. Vice Mayor, and now staff, would you like to offer some comments? Mr. Clegg and then Ms. Byers?
I will turn it over to Ms. Byers. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Clegg, Council. On May 11th, 2023, the City Council approved agreement number 2023-111 with James Narducci for Amestoy Hotel. It's located at 622 East 21st Street within the Old Town Kern EOA for an amount not to exceed $106,000 for lead abatement, upgrading windows, upgrading downspouts, and canvas awning installation. And so what you're seeing here is the existing building and then what is proposed. It includes the awnings, there's some facade improvements to the wall, the downspout. Can you go to the next one for me, please? You can see there where the windows are aging, the downspout, it's leaking, and so it's really tarnished a lot of that facade. So with that, he proceeded to move forward with some of these improvements that have been identified. We did receive a request for an additional funding in the amount of $63,843 for exterior painting, interior tile flooring upgrades, and increased costs to the exterior brick facade improvements. The EOA program was created to encourage the redevelopment of vacant property or building improvements. And so with that, staff does recommend that council approve the amendment for an amount not to exceed a total of $170,160,57. The owner, Mr. James Narducci, is here tonight and can also comment on the project.
Thank you, Ms. Byers. Mr. Clegg, any comments before I open? Thank you. So at this time, 8A is open. Is there anyone who would like to speak in opposition to staff's recommendation? Please come forward to the mic, identify yourself, and proceed. Seeing none, is there anyone who wishes to speak in support of staff's recommendation? Please step to the microphone and proceed. Seeing Welcome.
Hello,
Please identify yourself.
My name is James Narducci, Jimmy, and I think this is a great project, and I really want to see this happen. This building has been my whole life here in town, and I want this really badly. That's all I can say. I spoke with Andre earlier about it, so I'm looking forward to this. Thank you.
Thank you. Vice Mayor. Well, no.
Vice Mayor, I'm suggesting that I think I know where you may be going, and so I suggested to the mayor that perhaps leaving the hearing open while you may be of some benefit.
Great,
We just need to remember to close it.
All right, thank you, Mr. Naro, for clarifying. Let me start by saying what a special place Narducci's Cafe really is to Bakersfield. It is a historic building. I've had many fond memories personally in Narducci's Cafe. Actually, just a few days after my dad died, Councilmember Smith and his sons took me to lunch right there at Narducci's. And I'll never forget that moment, it being in the back room and the windows, and just there's nothing like it. There's nothing like that building. And it's an important, iconic place. And there are many important, iconic places in Old Town Kern. and it really is the place that really builds our community, helps us come together. And so it is important for us to continue to help revitalize some of these areas. In fact, tonight on item 7I2, we approved an agreement to work on an Old Town Kern vision plan. And this is a step that is absolutely necessary in order for us to save Old Town Kern and save all of these important historical buildings, and also help revitalize the area around a disadvantaged neighborhood. So I'm eager to proceed with this, but I do have some questions. And Mr. Narducci, the building looks beautiful as it's rendered. I wonder if you could just answer a few questions for me. I'd appreciate it. Number one is, as we look towards the future, can you describe for the council what the plan is to operate the restaurant and cafe for the community?
Mr. Narducci, go ahead.
I want to operate it just like Wool Growers, Pyrenees, Luigi's.
Okay. And do you have a lease agreement with an operator for the restaurant?
I do right now, yes.
Okay.
And we have a liquor license already in there. And we would be open except for the fact that the work needs to be finished.
Okay, that's fantastic. I think that's what we all want to see, is the restaurant open to the public and operational. And so I will make the motion if we can.
I'm going to close it first, and then we'll come back to you on that.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. At this time, we'll close the public hearing and return it to council for comment and action. Vice Mayor.
Thank you, Mayor. I would like to make the motion tonight for us to approve the grant agreement amendment with the condition that we receive from Mr. Narducci a lease agreement or a plan of operation for the restaurant facility prior to the full reimbursement of the amended amount.
Are there any other requests to speak? I do not see anything. Yeah, just wait a minute, 1 second. Something is still wrong, and I don't have any. Yeah. Yeah. Well, you're guiding it. Okay. Yes, it's operating on its own the wrong way. Councilmember Gray.
Mr. Narducci, I've got a couple of questions for you too. You may want to hang closer for just a minute. Thank you for coming. I wanted to ask you, when was the last time your restaurant was operational?
I think it was last August.
Okay, about a year ago?
Yeah.
And what was the reason that your restaurant had to close?
The guy that was running it didn't have enough money to do it.
Okay.
He was younger. Wow.
So do you own the property?
Yes.
You own the property?
Yes.
So are you going to be running it yourself as your business plan for this?
I'm planning on it,
location?
yes.
You're going to be the one opening the restaurant, so you're not going to be turning it over to someone else again?
Not unless I find someone really qualified.
Uh-huh. So
really qualified, so.
Okay. So do you feel, have you reached out to other people to see if they will want to manage a restaurant out of that? Do you have any candidates is my question.
I haven't advertised it, if that's what you're saying. Right now, I've got Jimmy Katsantonis from Goose Looney's. His liquor license is in there right now, and it's legal. We're ready to go, so.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I'm in agreement with Vice Mayor Gonzalez on this, that we really, I think as a city, because we're using taxpayer monies, money to be able to prop up the business and get it going again. And being a businesswoman myself, I want to see to your success. It's not like I want to throw roadblocks. But at the same time, I think a strong business plan being proposed to the city, this is what I want to do with it. I do have this opportunity. Restaurants have a very high failure rate. You know, there's only like 5% of restaurants that open succeed. So you're in a very vulnerable industry to begin with. So I would like to see a little bit more planning put into this so that it ensures your success. Not because I'm trying to punish you in any way, because I know how difficult it is, but to ensure your success, I think it's really important that there's a business plan in place. Have you ever worked with the SBA, Small Business Association, with any?
No, but I've run the place since 1977.
Okay, you ran it, and then.
Since 77, I've been the only owner.
Okay, but you've been.
And always successful, paid all my bills. Never had any bills that I didn't pay. State board, everything.
Okay. All right. Well, I appreciate you helping us out here. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Gray. Is there anyone else who wishes to speak? I don't have any other requests showing. Seeing none? You have a motion? Please cast your votes.
Motion is approved with Councilmember Arias absent.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Next item, please.
Public hearing item 8B.
Thank you. So public hearing 8B. Mr. Clegg?
Yeah, Mayor and Council, our acting Public Works Director, Zach Meyer, has some background information on this item.
Thank you, Mr. Meyer.
Good evening, Honorable Mayor, City Council members. Zach Meyer, Acting Public Works Director. The item tonight is a vacation, a 10-foot wide storm drain easement that impacts two properties on 3201 and, 3201 and 3221 F Street. There was already a 27-inch storm drain line in this easement that has already been relocated. There's already been a new easement in place for that line. There's currently no city utilities or other known utilities within this 10-foot easement. Property owners within 300 feet have been notified of the proposed easement. We've also had to do zero maintenance in the last 5 years, so no public funding has been spent on the maintenance for the utilities within this easement for over 5 years. There was no issues or concerns brought up by other interested departments within the city, and so this easement was done accordance to California Streets and Highway Code Section 8300, and no petitions have been submitted, and staff recommends approval of the vacation.
Thank you, Mr. Meyer. Mr. Clegg, any comments before we open it up? At this time, I'll open item 8B. Is there anyone who'd like to speak in opposition to staff's recommendation? Please come to the mic, identify yourself. Seeing none, is there anyone who wishes to speak in support of staff's recommendation? Please come to the mic and identify yourself. Seeing none, I'll close the public hearing, return it to council for comment and action. Councilmember Weir.
Thanks, Mayor. Is there any way that I can get a picture of what this specific area is? My screen is not working, so.
We can pull that up momentarily. It'll take us just a minute. It'll take us just a few minutes. We're going to email a presentation to the clerk to put up on the screen.
Okay. Is there anything else? It's just a vacation? It's not anything else? Is it adding to a specific area or So why, we're combining this? Parcel A and B?
Sorry, can you repeat that?
Are we combining parcels A and B, or?
No, I don't believe we're combining parcels. I think the easement impacted two parcels. So the easement impacting both parcels is being, well, there was a line there, it's already been vacated. And so this action is just vacating an existing easement that no longer has any utilities within it.
Okay, well, it's up in front of me now, so I'll move approval.
Okay, just come up.
I'll move approval.
Councilmember Weir has moved approval. Is there anybody else who wishes to make a comment? Seeing none, you have a motion. Please cast your votes.
Motion is approved with Councilmember Arias absent.
Thank you. Next item, please.
Council and Mayor statements.
I don't have any requests yet. Maybe we're waiting a minute. Councilmember Kaur.
I didn't expect to be up so soon, but well, today I want to talk about something that's pretty on theme to our conversations that have evolved today. As we're all well aware, we are still in the midst of summer as well as summer temperatures, but in the month of July, it was over 100 degrees in the city of Bakersfield for all but about 6 days. And as someone who was born and raised in Bakersfield, has experienced many summers here in Bakersfield, it still is just not, it doesn't get any easier every summer. And this summer felt a little extra brutal for whatever reason. And I know I don't have that feeling alone. I felt as though that was kind of the topic of conversation and the icebreaker wherever you go and whoever you chat with. And unfortunately, not everyone and not all of our neighbors have the same refuge that do not have equitable refuge that we can all seek. And, you know, being trained as a city planner, it just really pains me when we, when I know there's small and significant things that we can incorporate, strategies that would improve the quality of life for all of our residents, and at least what's in our power. So tonight I want to direct staff to conduct a study, or maybe we contract the experts, to develop a heat island effect and reduction plan, to include within it a tree management plan. So I'm looking for this study to answer what is the heat island effect throughout the city of Bakersfield, all of the city, how much heat is being stored within the ground and where. Maybe this is in the form of an interactive map. And let's use studies and plans developed by other cities as inspiration. Other folks have done it very well. And let's employ some of those successful kind of strategies that other cities have developed. Cities much cooler than us have developed heat island effect mitigation plans as well as tree management plans. Just a small list of cities that have an urban heat island mitigation plan include the city of San Antonio, the city of Sacramento, city of Scottsdale, Kansas City, city of Louisville, as well as the city of Houston. And cities that have urban tree management plans include the city of Fremont, city of Garden Grove, city of Fresno, city of Watsonville, city of San Diego, city of Artesia, city of Napa, city of San Jose, and even the city of Merced. So I think we can join in the good company of some of these other cities to really figure out how we cool down our city. We know that the summers aren't going anywhere. There's tons of benefits to, of course, decreasing the heat island effect. And this is a term used by scientists to document we might be feeling that it's 115 degrees outside, but because of the material that's used in our buildings, in our sidewalks, on our roads, that heat is being absorbed and it's not going anywhere. It's being stored right in those roads. So it might be 115 where we're standing, but the ground is going to be 130, 40, 50. It just depends if there's nothing that interrupts that heat being absorbed. And that heat doesn't go anywhere. That's why our nights are just as warm. So we really need to come up with a solution to this. And some of those cooling techniques are, of course, trees. Trees are as fundamental to life as we all know, but the true meaning of life, as someone said, is to plant the trees under whose shade we do not expect to sit. And so I'm hoping we can plant some trees that we don't expect to sit under, but will cool our city for years to come. But that's not the only technique that's employed to cool down cities. There are cool roofs that are utilized. Actually, there was in Tucson, Arizona, they did a pilot project that they did a cool roof project, and they used it on a city administrative building, and it resulted in a 50 to 60% reduction in energy use, and they actually saved about $4,000 annually in energy costs on just that one administrative building, and they saved 400 million energy watts, or however it's documented as well, annually. So we were talking about energy earlier. Some of these techniques can also help and have been proven to help other cities in cooling down. Cool roads can also help and are known to kind of mitigate this heat. There's some already very well-established techniques, as well as new techniques that are constantly emerging, where you use a lighter shade of asphalt to reduce that heat. There's so many different types of material that can now be used that actually helps your roads last longer and keep them cool at the same time. So I think we can save our city a penny while keeping our city cool. Now, I wanted to add that the benefits of increasing not only trees in our city, but also cooling down our city are, of course, trees will improve our air quality. We have inherited the worst air quality in the nation for as long as I've lived here. That's my whole life. So in some of those national rankings that we're not as proud of, why not get to work on doing what we can in bringing in more trees that are climate friendly to us? And the city of Fresno is a great model in their tree management plan. Our climates are similar. They've got tons of, within their management plan, I think we would find a lot of inspiration as to the different species that we could also see here. It lowers your utility bills, and this is well documented in the cities that have incorporated heat island effect mitigation plans. It raises property values because we're improving the aesthetic of our city, and that's exciting, as well as improving the physical and mental health. When you see greenery or you see plants, that has a proven effect on your improved mental health, but also our residents will be able to walk outside, and it doesn't feel like a punishment to go outdoors. So for all of those reasons, I would like to direct city staff to conduct this study, find the experts. Maybe we consult with some of our neighboring cities to see who they utilized, and really get to work on and bringing solutions so that we can ease the burden of this extreme heat from our residents. And I'll close by saying that Ward 7 had consistent electricity outages in the month of July and August. Was constantly in communication with residents as well as our energy providers to figure out what's going on. And of course, you feel helpless when there really are no answers, and you have no idea when your power is going to come back on. So for all of those reasons, these issues are not getting any easier. So I hope we can just come up with some solutions, find out what's out there, see what the research is telling us, and really help out our residents across the city. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Carr. Vice Mayor.
Thank you, Mayor. I appreciate Councilmember Corr's comments regarding the heat island effect. It's a real phenomenon that we all have experienced for far too long. And as we look towards a study, I would also add that we look at just 3 or to 5 simple strategies that we can implement as pilot projects here and now. So we don't have to wait several summers. We can have things ready to go. Councilmember Corr mentioned there are cities that actually paint their roadways a lighter color in order to try to reduce the effects of heat. We don't have to relearn that lesson. We can see what other cities have done and how effective it's been. Certainly trees. I used to be the president of the Tree Foundation. We can't plant enough trees in this town, and so it would be cool if we can establish a bold goal, 10,000 trees over the next 5 years or something like that, that we can begin to press upon all of our community partners, businesses, residents to help us meet that goal. But the other thing I was thinking about, and it's been on my heart for quite some time, is I have a number of constituents who are renting apartments or who are living in homes without adequate air conditioning, or their air conditioning systems have failed them. And so it would be really valuable if we look towards how we can strengthen our grant programs that would provide those air conditioning units for some of our renters who are experiencing extreme heat, because it is not only miserable, but it is a matter of life and death for certain sensitive populations. So thank you, Councilmember Corr, for bringing that up. I have just 2 other items. Number 1 is illegal dumping remains to be a chronic issue in our community. I'd like us to have a report on some of the updates and some of our strategies moving forward. I would like us to really develop a comprehensive ad campaign regarding illegal dumping, having established stronger enforcement strategies to get at illegal dumping, and then also an idea that came up in one of my meetings with some folks from our impact team, partnering with Goodwill or other thrift stores that receive donations and having a mechanism or a space for people to dump their waste that would not be accepted otherwise by a Goodwill or other thrift store, so that our teams can go out and collect those things in one central location. And I thought that was a really wonderful idea, and I think it would work for many people. And then my last item is a constituent asked a question related to Assembly Bill 626. And Ms. Gennaro, this item is for you. This is a bill that was passed that amended the California Health and Safety Code to establish a micro-enterprise home kitchen operation, which is a new type of retail food facility that will allow individuals to operate a restaurant in their private residence. And it actually gives cities and counties full discretion, quote unquote, to authorize these facilities in their jurisdiction. I just wondered, what discretion does the city really have, considering we don't have a public health entity? What really is our discretion, and are there any ordinances that we ought to adopt to allow these to be permissible within the city of Bakersfield? That's it. Thank you.
Thank you. And then Councilmember Corr, did you want to speak again? Councilmember Corr.
I wanted to add a timeline to when we could potentially have this study back, or if we could receive regular updates in us seeking out consultants or experts who would be conducting this study for us and in the creation of this plan. I do hope that we can have some solutions or something close to a plan, and have some stuff implemented before the next summer, and this not taking us multiple summers, just to build on the Vice Mayor's point as well. Thank you.
Thank you. I don't see any other requests to speak, so we stand adjourned at 6:44.